Please give a very warm welcome to our 57th Governor, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, everyone. I am Gail Brewer, Manhattan Borough President, and this is one of the best days of my life. So I want to thank Chinatown. Some months ago, I realized that there was money from the state. It's called REDC. I know it has many different initials, but it's basically the Regional Economic Development Corp. And over the years, each 10 districts in the state get funding for commercial enhancement. And I was pissed off because the other boroughs had gotten money. And so I was like, where's Manhattan? And the long story short is, obviously during the pandemic, we were not able to apply. And here we are in 2021, and we said, let's try for Manhattan. And to the credit of the Empire State Development, which is the oversight agency, they decided to put $20 million in because we had skipped 1 year due to that awful pandemic. I want to say that the group of people, you'll see him on the stage, and you'll see others in the audience, who came together from your beloved Chinatown, you should be very proud of. They wrote the most amazing proposal, and then you'll hear more about this from our phenomenal governor. But I first want to just say thank you to some of these people because they put together the kind of effort, whether they were on vacation with their family or working from home or from the office, they worked really, really hard. I first want to thank, of course, our host, Justin Hugh, president of CCBA. Thank you, Justin. I want to thank Thomas Hughes, executive director of Asian Americans for Equality. I want to thank Joanne Howe, executive director, Asian American Federation, who has a great sense of humor. I want to thank Wayne Ho, president of the Chinese American Planning Council, who cares about human services. Amy Chin, who's president of the board of Think Chinatown, who was very creative. I also want to make sure that we do not forget Wei Lam, who's in the audience, who was the grant writer. Please stand up, Wei Lam. And I want to thank Vanessa Diaz-Lopez from the Manhattan Borough President's Office, who did all the work also. And James Katz, who's the Deputy Borough President, not able to be here today, but who did a phenomenal job. I also want to thank, there were people from the Chinatown Manpower Project. There were 2 people, Hung Ching Lee and Stephanie Lau, who also participated. And I want to thank the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, because you'll hear that one of the projects they actually own, and they were very helpful. And I want to thank Chung Sito, who's always involved with everything. She's terrific. Thank you. And the same thing with Jenny Lowe, who the first call I made was, should we do this, Jenny? And she said yes. So these are the people who made such an important participation in every single aspect of this. I also want to thank the community boards. They're represented here. Lucian Reynolds is here from Community Board 1, Tammy Meltzer from Community Board 1, and Anisha Steffen from Community Board 3. The community boards were very helpful and signed off and supported us, for sure. And then you'll hear in the very near future from our elected officials. But I also want to thank Kathy Wilde from the partnership, who's here today. Thank you very much. I want to thank Amy Vera, who's from Assemblymember Yulene News Office. She's not able to be here, the Assembly member, but thank you, Amy, very much for being here. And I want to thank, of course, Kinda Yunes, who's an REDC council member, and Thomas Gretsch, who's an REDC council member, and they too are supportive of this amazing project. So without, I just want to be clear how much work went into it and how excited we are. I feel strongly, as you do, that Chinatown was hurt more than any other community. If you add the fact that we didn't have tourists, we didn't have office workers, we didn't have court workers, and you had a lot of anti-Asian hate. January and then continuing today. So the fact that people came together to bring all of us together, it was a miraculous effort. And I cannot thank all of you enough for this effort that was so successful. But the real person I want to thank is the governor, and I want to say a few things. Obviously, we're here to welcome you to Chinatown and to CCBA. For those of you who aren't here, we feel like this is our second home. We're here so often, and we love this space because it means a lot. We're very, very honored to be here with Governor Kathy Hochul for this exciting announcement. You may know that earlier this week at the American Museum of Natural History, she announced a historic investment in tourism industry to bring visitors and jobs back to New York, and that, of course, will help Chinatown. What brings people to New York City is the opportunity to experience the world-class arts and culture we have to offer. I know that Councilmember Chin and I are always trying to get more arts and culture into Chinatown. I love that Margaret Chin is doing that, because there's no better culture than what exists here in Chinatown. This is a neighborhood, however, as we know, that has been uniquely challenged by the pandemic. We know all about hate that has existed, and it causes a vibrant neighborhood to slow down and businesses to close. But today is a new day and marks the comeback of Chinatown. I always love walking around with Wellington Chen. You know it's his birthday today, just in case anybody doesn't know. Not only is he head of the bid, but that man takes more friggin' photographs than anybody I know. I don't know what he's gonna do with them all. But this is a new day in Chinatown, and I know that Governor Hochul is no stranger to this beloved Chinatown. She's been here for the Asian community over and over again, supporting small business owners and standing in solidarity against hate. And she's here once again in a big way. I want to say also, in terms of the state, we have State Senator Brian Cavanaugh, because it is state money. Even though it goes through the borough president's office, it really is state money. I don't like to admit that, but it really is. So I want to thank all of you for being here to make this announcement. It shows the dedication of Chinatown and your commitment to this phenomenal neighborhood, and that the Asian community remains strong. I love that the Asian community is the fastest growing community. I love that, it's fabulous. So, it is, yep, fastest growing. So now I have a distinct honor, and I'm really delighted that while we worked hard to get this, there was a new governor, remember that? And I'm so glad that it's my friend and the 57th governor of New York, the very, very fabulous Kathy Hochul. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Borough President. Thank you. You are an extraordinary leader, and I've so enjoyed the evolution of our friendship, a deep friendship that started nearly a decade ago when I first started spending more time here. And I want to thank her for her tireless advocacy for the people she represents. During the height of the pandemic, Gail and I walked into the garment district many, many times. We walked the streets here. We stopped to see people and see, are you okay? Can we help you in any way? So she's amazing. I just want to thank her for being our borough president, but onward to her next journey in life as our council member, Gail Brewer. I do want to recognize an individual who's not here as well, who wanted me to send her regards, and that's Congresswoman Nida Velazquez. I believe she's represented by staff here. I literally was just talking to her, and she is fighting to get more money for small businesses. She's with the head of the administrator of the SBA as we speak. Otherwise, she certainly would have been here. But she has been a friend of mine and an ally since I was in Congress serving with her. So Nida Velazquez. Also, I do want to recognize Senator Brian Cavanaugh, and he's here for so many reasons, but he has been so intense in fighting for people who are the renters, the small businesses, and way he works so hard to get rent relief money out to the people of this community and across the state. I want to thank him for his incredible advocacy. We are blessed to have him as our senator, Senator Cavanaugh. And Margaret Chin and I have gone to a lot of senior centers. We've gone out for bubble tea. She makes sure I'm at all the best restaurants. And so we've been doing this for a long time, my friend. Let's give a round of applause to Margaret Chin as well. You mentioned Kathy Wilde, an extraordinary leader who, no matter the size of the business or what part of the city they're in, she is out there fighting, and she did an extraordinary, extraordinary job during this pandemic to make sure that state government was responsive to the needs of the business community. Let's give her a round of applause as well. I'm also proud of some new members in my administration. I promised diversity. I promised I'd bring the most qualified individuals and open up the doors so state government looks more like the people of the state of New York. We've accomplished that literally in a matter of 2 months, and I want to thank someone who's starting her job, and a very important job, overseeing all the government spaces throughout the entire state of New York. Jeanette Moy will be our Commissioner of General Services starting Monday. Big responsibility, as well as others on my team who are represented here. We have Linda Sun is here, and others who have, Linda Sun, where are you, Linda Sun? Great, amazing you do here as well. Wellington, happy birthday. I want to thank you for your advocacy. You have been on the Regional Economic Development Council that Gail is discovering is a source of good money, and you have been very, very strong in your voice for the Asian community in that capacity, as well as all businesses, so I thank you for that. And certainly, Chung Seto, we've done a lot together as well. And to anyone else who's in the audience, I thank you. I have a very simple message. It's simple, but it's strong. Chinatown is back. We have been through too much for too long, and we are rising up, my friends. We are rising back. And there are so many factors at play right now. Just this week, we've opened back the doors to international tourism. The people who love coming here, when you go to New York City as a tourist, you're going to see the Statue of Liberty, you're going to see the Empire State Building, and you're going to go to Chinatown. And we have missed this for too long. We want to welcome them back, give everybody a hug as long as they have masks on, and say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And I'm so grateful that all of the businesses and the individuals in this fabulously diverse, so interesting, this community of great culture and arts and entertainment and food, that we have hung on through the darkest days. And I came here literally in February of 2020. A lot of people were anxious as the news was coming out of China and what was happening with this pandemic. I marched with my 2 Chinese nieces because it's our tradition to always go to the Lunar New Year parade. I stopped for bubble tea, and it was sad to see that the businesses were already in February, before the rest of the country was figuring all this out, the businesses in Chinatown were already suffering. So this has been a long period of anxiety and frustration, and will I be able to hang on? You may be a proprietor of a family business that's been there for generations, part of the fabric of what makes this community so incredibly interesting and fascinating, a place you'll want to come to, and you're just thinking, can I just hang on a little bit longer? Well, you did. You persevered. You showed the toughness of all New Yorkers and how we come through these together. And this is a unique opportunity for us to define the future going forward and to stand up in the face of so many challenges, not just a pandemic, but the rise in Asian hate, which I have come to this community so many times to say, I will stand with you, I am there with you, and I will fight back with you, because if you touch a single person in this community, you're picking a fight with 20 million New Yorkers. And I say we are together in this. We've allocated $3 million to help fight hate crimes, to help protect people. And what I saw when I came here to open up a vaccine site, elderly Chinese Americans afraid to go out into the street to get a life-saving vaccine because they're afraid of being knocked down or castigated or harmed, and that was heartbreaking that was going on in this city. So we stand together, we push back, and we celebrate everyone who is a member of this family, and you have my commitment to continue doing so. So I'm excited back here at the CCBA, been here many, many times. Justin, I'm sorry, I know you're gonna charge me rent because I'm here all the time, but that's all right, that's all right. We brought pop-ups here. We were here with members of the Somos community to make sure you had the resources. I wanna make sure we get the kids vaccinated now, all the parents out there and grandparents. Everybody's asking me when we're going to get rid of the mask, and I really like this Chinatown Strong mask personally. This is a new favorite of mine. The masks come off when the kids are vaccinated. Let's just make that happen. We're in the throes of the end of this pandemic if we keep the numbers down. But I want to let people know that I'm very conscious of the fact that we are just craving for that sense of normalcy. And I do believe that the tourists coming back, the workers coming back downtown, more people getting vaccinated, that we are really at the beginning of the end of this. And I cannot wait to celebrate this as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, Elaine Fan is now my Director of Asian Affairs. Elaine, are you out there? Where are you? Make sure you get to know Elaine Fan as well. So, you're all waiting for the big news. Drum roll, suspense, and yes, it is a competition that anyone who applies for the money from the Downtown Revitalization Initiative is scaled in comparison to people who've else applied throughout the boroughs. And I agree with Gail. And I asked the questions in the past administration, what about Manhattan? I know they've been applying. Where's the money? So now we're finally making up for lost time, but better than before. In the past, it had been a $10 million Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and your timing is such that we didn't put that money aside or throw it back in the budget. We said the communities that had to endure 2020, 21, they have been hit the hardest, so let's double that amount of money. Let's let the best application, and you won based on your merits, to receive $20 million so you can supercharge the community right off the bat. And what we're going to do is make sure that you can build on your history, your legacy as a cultural destination, and we're going to also make sure that we are creating catalysts to ensure that the businesses that are here, but the new businesses who have the opportunity to go anywhere they want, will realize that this is one of the best places to do business. So I'm not going to tell you what's in this now, and the reason is we are reimagining, rethinking, and redoing state government. And what does that mean? And Senator Cavanaugh will know the history. For too long, state government has been telling everybody at the local level what to do. I know this because I spent 15 years in local government. I was always fighting back against the state. This is my community. I know it's best. I am empowering the locals to make decisions about their destiny and what they want for their people. That is how we're doing it here in the state of New York. And Chinatown, I'm calling on all the great partners represented here. You came together and you formed a coalition that was powerful. One that's going to continue to endure way beyond this, because there's going to be a long process. I need all of you engaging the local community boards, engaging the community. You come up with your vision, how you want this money spent. And then we'll start coming back about a year from now. We'll announce the ideas that have been selected. Most of them will be, but you'll probably ask for about $40 million worth of projects, and you're going to get 20, so I'm just telling you, because I've seen this before. And then we start the fun, the groundbreakings, the ribbon cuttings. And then we see there's no stopping us. We have had this opportunity, once in a generation opportunity to jumpstart the economy, to bring us back. And I tell you, sure as I'm standing here, my friends, there will be a time when we look back and they'll say, how did they get out of that pandemic? How did Chinatown rise again? And I will give one simple answer. They rose again together. They had a shared vision. They believed in this community to their core, and they never, ever gave up. I will never give up on you because you never gave up on yourselves, and I look forward to coming back many times. I'm really good at ribbon cuttings, pretty good with a shovel as well as Lieutenant Governor, so I look forward to spending many more occasions with all of you, and thank you all for believing. Thank you.
Now please welcome Senator Brian Cavanaugh.
Thank you very much. It is a great honor and pleasure to be with you here. I've also spent a lot of time in this room and on this stage with, all of the folks in the front rows and the many people from this community who, really do view this as, the great central gathering place of Chinatown. It is a great pleasure to be with you on this particular occasion because this does represent a tremendous investment from our great governor and, of course, a culmination of a lot of work from our great borough president to ensure that, as the governor said, we are taking the resources that we put in place through the state budget process and making sure that they are used in ways that are going to really make a difference in our community. You know, I represent a lot of communities throughout Lower Manhattan and a big chunk of Brooklyn. You're not allowed to pick favorites as a state senator, but I have been so consistently impressed with the ability of this community to come together, to take care of our neighbors and our, other businesses that are working, sometimes they're, we're competitors in business, but businesses in this community to understand that we have a common future that relies on Chinatown being strong, Chinatown being resilient, and Chinatown getting the resources necessary to rebuild. I, as the Housing and Construction and Community Development Chair, have particularly focused on making sure the rent gets paid. We know that's connected because many of the people who own the buildings have residential tenants above and commercial tenants below, and you've been hit in both segments. We have allocated billions and billions of dollars for recovery in New York, but we know, as the governor said, that does not work well unless we have people in the community who know how to identify the needs, who know how to come together and come to a consensus about how we're going to spend that money, and then know how to get that money into projects that are going to make a difference. So it's a great pleasure to be with you. I'm not going to rename all of the wonderful organizations that are represented up here and the many that are represented in the audience today, but it really is a tribute to this community that we've gotten this far, that we've gotten through this struggle that, as the governor and the borough president said, began in this community before any other part of New York City. We need this assistance. It's been a long road so far. It's still going to be a long road ahead, but we are on the right track. So again, thank you all, and it's a great pleasure to join the governor in this announcement.
Now please welcome Councilmember Margaret Chin.
Good morning. I am so delighted to be here to share in this historic announcement of investment of $20 million to Chinatown through the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. Thank you to our governor, and thank you to our amazing borough president, Gail, who whipped everybody in place to do this. Working together with Gail's office and the Coalition to Revitalize Chinatown, we submitted a comprehensive and visionary proposal that will bring much-needed investment into Chinatown. One of the three anchor projects, improving Kim Lao Square, is particularly close to my heart. In June, the Kim Lao War Memorial became New York City's first landmark related to Chinese American history. Chinatown and the Chinese American community have been greatly impacted by COVID and the rise of the anti-Asian hate sentiment. The American Legion, Post 1291, and my office worked tirelessly to preserve the arch and upgrade the square, to honor the contribution of Chinese American and to honor the Chinese American soldiers that made the ultimate sacrifice. I have been outspoken about the position on the East Broadway Mall, and because I believe the area once again can be an economic and cultural hub. It is my hope that the coalition will work closely with the Fujianese community leaders to bring the East Broadway Mall and the surrounding area back to its full potential. This investment, made possible under the leadership of our Governor Hochul, represent a new chapter for Chinatown. The three anchor project honors the history while building our future. Jumpstart the economy engine while investing in art programming for residents and improve quality of life for reimagining open space and pedestrian safety. Thank you to all the coalition members, 10 of them, who are represented here. I'm not going to name all of you, but in doing what many thought was impossible, right, Gail? Yes. Come together on a consensus in less than a month in Chinatown. There were so many Zoom meetings, Google Docs, planning calls, and everything from Gail's office. And I want to personally thank my chief of staff, Gigi Lee, who's the one that's been, representing my office in all that. But Gail, you said you're going to get the money for Chinatown, and you did it. And thank you to Vanessa in your office, too. The future of Chinatown is bright, and I have no doubt that we're going to come back stronger and more resilient than before. 華埠明天會更強壯、更好。Thank you.
Now please welcome back to the podium Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer.
Now my honor to have just a few words from the amazing people who put this coalition together. We're going to start with our host today, Justin Hugh. If you want to come up and just say a few words about how much this project means to CCBA. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Borough President. We will say a few words on behalf of CCBA. We have all the community leaders from CCBA are all here today, and we welcome the Governor Hochul to come back to CCBA again. You have been with us so many times, but today you'll come back. Chinatown will come back. Today is will make a really different of a Chinese Chinatown here. Today is Chinatown Day of Manhattan and Chinatown Day of New York State. Thank you very much, Borough President. Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you. Welcome back to CCBA again.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from the birthday man, Wellington Chen, REDC council member and head of the bid.
Wow, what a way to celebrate your birthday. We should do this more often, shouldn't we? $20 million, Governor Kathy Hochul, really appreciate it. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that really deserve the credit. Chief among them was your Matthew Washington. Matthew Washington and I walked Chinatown in 2018 and 2019 in preparation, laying the groundwork for this application. So he's not here today. And also the hardworking staff of REDC sitting in the back for decades. Tremendous amount of workload, and the governor knows how much work is involved each year. And I have to thank Kathy, Wilde, and all the groups. As well as the council member mentioned, this is the historic first for Chinatown. The folks over at Landmark Preservation Commission really injected hope together with this $20 million gift, because it's the first time the recognition of the contribution and the sacrifices that this Asian community has contributed so much to the city. So there are a lot of people behind the scenes, and the great message today is about hope, and it's a new beginning, and we are in it for the fight. Thank you so much.
Thomas Yu, Executive Director of AFB, and I must admit, I do love AFB. I was there the day it started. Thomas Yu.
Thank you, Borough President Gail Brewer. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for this amazing injection into the arm of Chinatown. Like you said, we're all going to come back, and it's amazing that we came together as a coalition to really think about our vision of creating what is a locally driven revitalization of our neighborhoods. And what a terrible year we've been through, but coming out stronger. And thank you for your help in doing this. And of course, Gail and your team. Gail called me up and said, we're gonna work on this. And I was like, great, I'm on my way to Rhode Island on vacation. And she said, no, you're not, you're going to work on this. And she really whipped us all into shape, but thank you so much. She really cares about Chinatown. And want to also thank all of our team at AFI over here, who have been really keeping all our small businesses afloat with their emergency loans. We're going to work even more with Empire State Development through our CDFIs, build more affordable housing, provide all the social services. We're looking forward to what's to come. Thank you.
Amy Chin, President of the Board, Think Chinatown, and she was so helpful. Amy.
I am so thrilled to be here today. Thank you, Governor Hochul, and thank you, Gail, for making this possible. Chinatown is here to stay. And arts and culture is a big part of that. Chinatown is a jewel of New York City, and we should not forget it. We're not revitalizing Chinatown, we are celebrating Chinatown because there's so much here to celebrate. And with this grant, it's going to be a bigger party. So remember, think Chinatown. We think and we love it every day. Thank you.
Wayne Ho, President of Chinese American Planning Council, who really cares about human services.
I want to thank Governor Hochul as well as Gail, Brian, Margaret for their leadership. CPC, we're the nation's largest Asian American social services nonprofit. During the pandemic, my team, who's filling up 3 rows over there, we served over 89,000 New Yorkers of all backgrounds because we were dealing with the dual pandemic of COVID as well as anti-Asian hate crimes. The Asian American community was the first to suffer. And with the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, we're not going to be the last community to recover. And that's why we're excited that we can all come together at this time to make sure that Chinatown, as well as the Asian American neighborhoods, have an equal opportunity to recover. Asian Americans were the fastest growing group, as the governor said. 1 out of 10 New York State residents are Asian American. 1 out of 5 New York City residents are Asian American. And it's time for us to see more investment in our community, starting with the $20 million investment here to our headquarters of Chinatown. We look forward to implementing our projects, and we know we'll do that not only with the elected officials who remain in office. I also see we are joined today by incoming Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. He likes ribbon cuttings too, so it'll be good. And last but not least, 1 out of 5 New York City residents are Asian American. I think there's an opportunity for incoming Eric Adams to have the first ever Asian American deputy mayor. Thank you.
Joanne Yu, Executive Director of Asian American Federation, a great leader.
Good morning. As a non-Chinese member on the stage, I am really honored to be here. Thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you, Gail, Margaret, Brian. I've worked in Chinatown for 10 years, and this place, it means something very special to me. But Chinatown, besides being a special place for Chinese, it's a symbol for the entire Asian American community in New York. This is what a community looks like. This is what an authentic community looks like. And so it's really, it's a wonderful feeling to be able to join forces and to be able to work together to preserve what our culture symbolizes, to make this an authentic place that is not just good for tourists, but also good for all the residents. And so we are excited, and know that we're going to come back strong, and thank you very much.
And now we'd like to present the check.
I also, too, wanted to say that I want to thank Council Member, soon-to-be Borough President Mark Levine, because this project will work with the community, but also with the Borough President's office. So we're delighted to have him as a great keeper of the flame. And I also want to thank the 504 Democrats. Thank you very much, Mike, for being here today. And now we also want to ask Wade to come up, and Vanessa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'd like to present the check now.